Hey guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to my channel. So today is a day that I am filming a whole bunch of first impressions of just new makeup that I've either gotten recently and haven't had a chance to use yet, or makeup that is actually new to everybody, to the makeup world. I've already done one testing a foundation. This is where we're at right now. If you want to check that out, it will probably already be on my channel before this video. I will link it here and also in the description box below. Today, this video is going to be all about testing an eyeshadow palette. This eyeshadow palette came out pre-Christmas, I want to say, like it was their holiday release palette, and despite what I originally thought, it is actually still available. I am talking about the Pat McGrath Mothership Mega Celestial Divinity palette. This palette has 18 shadows in it. It retails for $103. That's Canadian dollars for any of my American viewers. And this is what the palette looks like. I've just noticed that some of the shades are lifting up and out, so it is a fragile palette, to be honest. This shade came to me kind of cracked just from shipping. Not a big deal. It's a soft formula. I could push it back down. But this is what the palette looks like here. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous shades. I have never tried a Pat McGrath palette before, mainly because they are so expensive. Like a lot of their 10 pan palettes are like $170, which is actually more than like Natasha Denona shadows. So I'm hoping that it's kind of along the same lines of a Natasha Denona shadow quality based on just the price tag. So obviously this is an expensive palette. It's not something that everyone's going to have just lying around. It's going to be something that you kind of treat yourself to, a luxury palette. I personally picked it up, I think during the VIB Rouge sale, so I could get 20% off of it. So it is defined as an 18 shade epic edit that offers a full spectrum of perfection for infinite artistry. So for today's video, I am going to swatch them all on my arm just because this is a new palette and a new brand for me. I want to give it the full like jumping through hoops test. I want to see how it swatches. I want to see all of that. And something interesting that I'm going to have to look into if they do this. When I looked down into the how to use section for this palette on Sephora, it actually gives you a whole bunch of shadow looks to do. So it tells you like you can do this look using these, this is how you apply it, da 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 da. So there are 6 different eyeshadow looks listed in the how to use section. So I actually think we're going to do that because I kind of want to see how easy it is to follow. I haven't picked which one yet. I think I'm going to base that based off of the arm swatches, whichever colors I like the most, whichever ones look the best to me. We're going to try and do a look out of that. So let's just get straight into it. So really quickly, this palette has mainly so there's glitters, there's shimmers, and then there's 3 matte shades. So you have this like matte kind of rosy pink, a matte burgundy, and a matte kind of grape purple. So I'm just going to get straight into swatching. Now the colors are listed on the back, and this is one of the ones that like as you see it here is how you see it here. So this corner is going to be this corner. So that's a really good way for me to be able to tell you guys what colors I'm swatching. I'm going to use kind of 3 fingers. Let's do 3 at a time. 1, 2, it'll take us 6 runs. Let's get going. First impressions, just touching them with my fingers. Very, very soft, particularly the shimmers. The mattes are also kind of nice. So first up we have Saturnalia. It is like a shimmery, I'm going to get my face out of it so that it will focus, a shimmery red color. We also have Bronze Nebula, another shimmer, and our first matte shade is Major Mahogany. Really, really gorgeous, really cohesive. I really like the look of the palette. I think it is a very interesting and I guess I should make sure I'm in camera, unique collection of shades. Not a color story I personally would have put together, but I still really, really like it. So those are the first 3. The shimmers, definitely really buttery, really smooth, that same kind of formula that I'm used to seeing from, again, Natasha Denona or, MAC puts out really nice shimmer shadows. Who else does really good shimmers? Alamar Cosmetics makes amazing shimmer shadows. If you've ever gotten a chance to try out one of their palettes, if you haven't, highly recommend it. They are gorgeous, gorgeous shadows. Let's get into the next 3. So this shade here, is Lunar Champagne. Really, really gorgeous, kind of more shimmery color. Now this one is like almost a full metal glitter. It's in Violet Void. I will say that this kind of a formula, much, much softer than this formula. I think it's this formula that are the ones that have been kind of like cracking on me. And then we also have Gold Standard. So again, really, really pretty. These three colors look very, very regal, very royal, very nice together. So interestingly, that purple almost looks like it's got a bit of a black shadow base with kind of like purple and silver glitters and reflex rolled through it. It kind of picks up a tiny, tiny bit of like a black undertone when it's actually swatched out. In the palette, it does a little bit as well, especially I'm hoping you guys can see now that I've kind of stuck my finger into it and moved it around a little bit. It does have a bit of a black base to it, which is really, really pretty. Gonna get into the next three now. I'm really excited about this bright, bright purple shade. So first things first, we have another matte. This is in Venomous Void. Then we have Odyssey. And this is the one I was really, really excited for. This is Fuchsia Shock. Really pretty. Again, another, I don't know if they did this on purpose, like kind of grouped them together in like sets that they could be used, but these three gorgeous together, these three really pretty together, those three really pretty together. I don't know if they meant to do that on purpose or if it's just something that I found out because I'm swatching it in a weird way. I don't really know. Get into the next three. This is another color I'm really excited about because it's got a bit of a green sort of a base to it, and I just love shades like that. So we've got Megabyte. This is beautiful like olive golden green. Bronze, so it's another bronze color. I'm wondering how close that is to the other bronze shade that we've already swatched. And this is Electron. It's kind of like a shifty purple blue sort of tone, almost looks like a multi-chrome. So let's keep swatching. Oh, I'm loving that green shade. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. So interestingly enough, that purpley shade didn't swatch the best on my arm, and it also almost picks up a more orangey pink kind of a tone than I was expecting. But again, another three colors. I think that this palette, when it came out in the fall, and that is the perfect time for this palette. I'm seeing a lot of really nice, fun fall shades in here, but I don't subscribe to that kind of like mentality where I only use certain palettes in certain seasons. I use them when I feel like them. Moving on to the final row. So we've got Cosmic. It's kind of like a pinkish, orangish sort of tone. Smoked Amethyst. So again, another kind of purple with a black undertone to it. And then Dragonfly, which I've had shadows look like that before. It's kind of like a brown shift to blue. MAC, for example, puts out a pigment that I'm pretty sure is called like blue brown or something like that, quite similar to that one. It almost has more of a brown to green shift though. Also, I know it's in a weird spot. I swatched it down my elbow. So this Smoked Amethyst, again, kind of depending on what light you look at it in, can pull more black or more purple. It is really, really pretty, but I just find it interesting that they put two darker purples in here that both kind of had the same black undertone. Maybe that's just what I'm seeing, because that is a thing as well, is like colors sometimes are kind of like different depending on who you are, how you see it. So the last three colors in the palette here. So we've got Venusian Orchid. This is the last matte color. It's a dusty rose kind of a color. Galactic Gold is like a pure, pure, beautiful, beautiful molten gold. And Corruption is kind of like a reddish, bronzish color. I'm just going to swatch them here because I'm sort of out of room here without getting into my elbow. So one here. Really pretty. Put the gold. That gold is gorgeous. And here is that red. Okay, so weirdly, it was red on my arm. It kind of pulls a little red on camera, but in person, it's very, very bronzy, orangey. I don't know that you guys are going to be able to see that just because of the way my camera is picking it up. It's picking it up very pink. So really impressed by the swatches. Really, really happy with the color selection. Are there a couple colors that are similar enough that they maybe could have put something else in? Yeah, kind of. I mean, there's a lot of purples in here. They all are a little bit different, but like I said, this purple here and this one here are kind of similar. Maybe those could have been two different things, but even all of the golds have different undertones. You've got a champagne gold, a yellow gold, a gold, what I would refer to as like a gold. Does that make sense? Probably not. There's a lot of bronzy colors in here. So as much as maybe there are a few colors in here that are similar enough that they almost could have gotten away with putting something different in, I don't know that I would change any of them out because I really like the color story and the variation that they gave us. So these are the 18 shadows in this palette. I'm going to clean off my arm and then we're going to pick out, well, I'm going to pick out a look that I want to do based on the list on the Sephora website, and we're going to get into a look. Alrighty, so after thoroughly looking through the looks suggested on Sephora, I was a bit torn because I really like that greenish golden color, but the look that it suggests using it only uses like 3 of the shades, and I want to use a few more than that. So we are going to go with the look that they have called Bronze Divinity. It is the first look that they suggest. We're gonna give it a shot and see how it goes. I have already, sorry, I can see like glitter or something in the corner of my eye. I've already primed my eyelids just using my MAC Painterly paint pot. If I had a Pat McGrath like eye primer, I would use that, but since this is the first product I've ever tried from this brand, I obviously don't, but I know that my MAC Painterly paint pot normally never steers me wrong. It has worked with every other eyeshadow I have ever tried to use, so we're just gonna go ahead with that. So the first thing that it suggests, it says blend Major Mahogany through the socket and outer corner using a small blending brush. So if you guys remember, Major Mahogany is this matte shade kind of up in the top. So again, I have clean brushes for once. I never do. So excited. So socket, okay. I might have taken too much, but that's okay. We'll work with it. I'm gonna bring you guys in a bit. Besides, makeup looks always look silly until you get like almost done. So I put it on with one brush and then I'm just using a different brush to sort of blend it out a little bit, make the lines a little bit less harsh, and just make the color a little bit more of a seamless sort of transition because that was very pigmented just off the get-go. So I'm actually going to be a little bit more careful this time. Like I said, I've never used these shadows before, so I don't know what to expect from them. It did say crease, socket, and into the outer corner. So we want this all the way across just to really give some depth to that part of our eye. So I'm actually going to just pick up a bit more. I kind of want to go a little higher, to be honest, but not too much so. So I'm just going to tap some more product a little bit higher into my socket, and then again, with a fluffier brush. I think I made a mistake. Oh well, it's okay. We're gonna blend it out. I feel like the last time I did my makeup, I was doing the one dip challenge, which afforded no time for blending or like going back with, I didn't pick up any more product. I'm just trying to spread out what I've already got. You know, you were kind of just stuck with what you had and you weren't trying to blend your product out. So I feel like I haven't done my makeup in so long, I've almost forgotten how to do it. It's like riding a bike, right? It'll just come back to me. So happy with that. I'm really liking the way that that looks. It's a little bit heavier on this eye for sure than on the other eye. But that's fine. It is what it is. Next step, it says apply Bronze Nebula to the outer half of the lid to add depth, blending outwards with a small blending brush. So it's suggesting, interestingly enough, the same sort of brush for both these steps, which is kind of weird to me. I'm just going to use a flat brush because I think that's the best option. So Bronze Nebula is that second shade we went into. It's just up top next to the one we already used. And I kind of just want to see how these apply with a flat brush. So what did it say? Outer half of the lid to add depth, blending outwards. So half of the lid, outwards. Okay, so it goes on really nicely with that brush. I'm surprised. Most like metal or shimmer shadows, in my experience, are not big fans of going on with a brush. It says blend outwards, so I'm gonna go back in with my finger and do that, but it's nice for an initial like lay down of product. You are getting a shimmer, you're getting a pack of color. I don't know if it's as intense. I'm just trying with my finger just to see if it gives it a little bit more intensity. A little bit, but not much, to be honest, which is kind of refreshing because, again, a lot of times when you use, you know, shimmer shadows, you really don't get any payoff or any intensity unless you go in with your finger. So that's kind of interesting. So blending outwards. Okay, well, to blend outwards, I will just use a kind of like blendy buffer brush just to get, again, a little bit more of a seamless transition between those two colors. So didn't add any more, just sort of use that to blend outwards. Then use a finger to swipe Lunar Champagne onto the inner third of the lid. Okay, so Lunar Champagne is up top. So far we've used 3 colors that are right next to each other. So finger and inner third. So we haven't quite come all the way together, which is interesting. I'm gonna see if they have those connecting, and if not, I might just connect them because I don't like that there's a gap on my eyelid that has nothing on it. You know what I mean? Because a third and a half don't add up to a full if you fraction. Okay, so interestingly enough, they don't have anything coming together, but I wasn't supposed to take that into my inner corner. There's another color that's going to go into my inner corner. You should always read ahead when you're following like a tutorial or something like that, just to know where you're going. So I'm just going to merge those 2 shades together just to sort of see what they do. This is kind of where we're at right now. Now it says define along the lash line with smoked amethyst, using a small angled brush and extending outward into a wing. So it actually doesn't have you do anything on the lower lash line from what I can see. I don't know how I feel about that. So small angled brush, I've got one of those here. This is a MAC 266 brush. In case anybody is curious, smoked amethyst is that kind of like black purple in the bottom. I've got a hair somewhere. So I'm gonna take that. So it's set along the lash line, blending out into a wing. Oh, I think I poked it in my eye. Oh well. So my guess is that we're doing this because it doesn't really want you to put like an eyeliner on. I also screwed it up because I went too high with it. So we're just gonna cover it up. Fix our mistakes. I also don't think that this is the smoked that they had in mind, so I'm going to take it with a pencil brush and really blend it out. Now, I don't like a wing liner, you guys know that, but what I don't mind is taking a bit of a lighter shade that goes still with the look, cohesive, and kind of winging that out rather than winging a full liner out. I just think that, you know, for somebody like me who finds that a wing black liner on my eye is just way, way too intense, getting like a bit lighter of, you know, maybe an eyeliner, or in this case, a shadow, and using that to kind of create almost like a false wing. Kind of gives a little bit of depth, gives it a little bit of a line to have people follow without being so intense as if it were the full black shadow. If that makes, not shadow, liner, if that makes any sense. I did this in a video recently, if anybody is curious about it. It doesn't have you put anything along the lower lash line, so I'm gonna add something in because I can't leave my lower lash line bare. It will just drive me nuts. So let's use, you know what, let's go in with that green color that I really like and just do that because who cares. So I'm changing the look up a little bit, but whatever, we'll go with it. It's really, really shimmery, so I imagine that there's gonna be a ton of fallout. Definitely some fallout, but that honestly could have been from earlier. Not too bad. So that is a little stuff that I added myself, and I also think that I am going to end up adding a liner. It doesn't say to, but I think I want to. So it wants you to highlight the inner corner with gold standard, which is that bright yellow gold at the top. So inner corner, really pretty bright pop of gold in there. And then it says to highlight your brow bone using the Lunar Champagne again. Again, I don't normally do this. I'm not a brow bone highlighter, but it says to do it. So let's just see, because I haven't done it in a long time. And who knows, maybe it's something I'm actually going to enjoy. It's fine. I don't know. Certainly isn't hurting. I also think that depending on, and this sounds silly, how big the space is between your eyebrows and your eye. Some people's eyebrows to like eyelash ratio is a lot smaller. So when they do put a brow bone color, there isn't a huge gap between where their eyeshadow ends and their eyebrow begins, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm not one of those people to like continue my eyeshadow all the way up. It's just not for me. It's not my preferred method of choice. So that is kind of our eye look based on what they were telling me to do. Used a bunch of formulas, tried the matte. The matte was gorgeous, super pigmented. The shimmers go on really nice. They blend really well together. I think the look overall is super cohesive, really pretty. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to run away, put on an eyeliner, put on some mascara, and come back and we'll wrap this video up. Alrighty, I'm back. I've got eyeliner on. I've got mascara on for eyeliner. I just used my Fenty Fly Liner in, what's it in? 'Cause I'm Black, I think is the color. And then for mascaras, I just used my MAC Upward Lash in combination with, actually I haven't even put this one on yet, so let me do that quickly, but we're going to be using Maybelline The Rocket Volume Express. I always like to do sort of one mascara with a small brush to lift and separate, and then a second mascara like this one, or like the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, or something of the like, to add some volume and some fullness, especially because I don't wear a ton of false lashes. They just annoy me, and they're normally not worth the hassle that it takes me to put them on. So final thoughts on the palette. I do really like it. I think that the shadow quality is really nice. I think you get a lot of pigmentation. The color story is gorgeous. The mattes are beautiful. There definitely was some fallout, but not so hideously bad as some other shadows. But it's there, and I did find that I got a little of it in my actual eyeball. Not in my eyeball, but on my eyeball, I guess, which, you know, could just be user error. It's a very soft formula, so that could just take me a little while to get used to. At the end of the day, am I happy with the product? Yes, I am. I think it's gorgeous. I think I'm going to get a lot of really pretty looks from it. I love the colors. I think it's going to be really fun for kind of all seasons. There's definitely some reds in here for holidays. You get some of those like bronzy, orangey kind of shades for fall. And there's also the purples and the pinks, which could be really fun for a summertime look. Is it worth $103? This is a question that constantly comes up, I think, on YouTube, and it is very hard for me to sit here and tell anybody watching, yes, you 100% need to go out and buy this shadow palette, because $103, and that's Canadian dollars, is not a lot to spend. Like I said, this kind of reminded me a little bit more of like when Natasha Denona does their smaller shadow palettes, so they cost less money. This kind of gave me that same vibe because their palettes are normally even more money than this. The palette itself is really pretty. This is a sticker on the front, and this is also a sticker on the back, which is peeling a little bit, but it is really nice. Feels sturdy. I don't know that I would travel with this palette, but I mean, that's also because of the softness of the formula, and it's already proven to me that in transit, it may not survive. Do I recommend this palette? It's kind of along the same lines as a Natasha Denona one. If you have a gift card or are looking and saving and looking to spend a lot on one eyeshadow palette or something like that, the quality is there. It just isn't necessarily any better than some more affordable palettes. And I'm not even, you know, just talking about like more affordable as in like Urban Decay palettes or Too Faced palettes, but even some like Wet n Wild palettes, ColourPop palettes are really, really good. So it kind of is something you have to weigh out your own conscience and weigh out your own thoughts and decisions on spending that kind of money, because if you get it, do I think you'll be disappointed? No, especially if the color story is drawing you in, because that's another thing. Like for me, I like the color story, somebody else may not. It's like some girls like warm tone palettes and some like cool tone palettes. It's all personal preference. That's kind of what makeup is. So at the end of the day, if it's something that's really drawing you in and you either have a gift card or you've been saving for some kind of a treat yourself sort of day, I don't think you will be disappointed by this palette. However, do I think it is a necessity in anybody's makeup collection? Not really, I don't. So take with that what you may. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this look. At one point I was filming like a blank number of looks, one palette video. It actually might be kind of interesting to use this palette in one of those videos because it does give a ton of looks on Sephora's website. Maybe I can try those, see how easy they are to follow for you guys if you're interested. If you guys have this palette and have been doing looks with it, link your videos down below. I would love to see it. Comment down below. I always love hearing from you guys. Like this video, and if you're not already and you want to be, then subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.